So today, Nisha, we're talking about Prince, and how familiar with the Purple One are you?
I know the odd song.
That's all right then. Yeah. Let's learn some more about him then. Prince was the kind of guy who would get away with pretty much anything by virtue of just being himself. A noted perfectionist, the Purple One was famous for never accepting any excuses from his staff in regards to his performances, something he made sure his entourage learned in a rather ingenious way.
Don't a lot of artists consider themselves perfectionists anyway?
Yes, and so we should clarify that. Prince was, a true perfectionist and not a perfectionist in the way like a lot of modern artists would like have you believe, because I think the word perfectionist is just code for nitpicky, diva-ish dickhead.
Yeah.
I think like Mariah Carey is one of the most famous examples of that, where there's no doubt, rather than speaking like a fact bar about some of the crazy things that she's insisted upon that she needs for her performance. And she points out Prince, while he was a very demanding and exacting individual, he demanded the same level of professionalism and perfection from himself. So if he told his his dance crew and his backup band you have to practice for this many hours, he would practice with them.
Yeah.
And usually will practice for longer than they did, because obviously he's the front man. So while admittedly he was a very demanding person to work for, he led by example and would absolutely hold himself to the same standards as he did everybody else. And Nisha, before we moved on, if I recall correctly, you used to work in a place where you had to deal with celebrities on occasion, correct?
Yeah, I was the front of house, so I personally didn't have to deal with them, but I knew...
Okay, well, you're dating someone who did that, correct?
Yeah, he worked behind back of house and had to deal with the acts.
So before we move on, Nisha, do you have any personal anecdotes about just very nitpicky, demanding celebrities?
There was a time Floyd Mayweather came, and I think he was 2 hours late anyway, and then
sounds about right.
He demanded, I think it was Nando's before he went on stage.
Okay.
So he was late, and then before he went on stage, he was like, "No, I want some chicken."
And didn't he get it as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously it's Floyd fucking Mayweather.
They rang up and said we need 30 chickens.
No, I know this story because Adam told me about it. And I think it was 500 chicken wings. So you wanted 200 chickens worth of wings, and you wanted them delivered by Nando's, who, if people don't know, don't do delivery.
Yeah.
And isn't it like they called up and went, "Can we get 500 chicken wings?" No, it's for Floyd Mayweather. We'll be there in 10 minutes, because the guy wanted to meet Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
And there are other celebrities that will be like, "No, it's perfectionism. I demand to have, I need the right atmosphere at which to be an artist." It's like, no, fuck you. You're just being a dick for the sake of it. And I've said Mariah Carey is a famous one. And like I said, there's some of those things that went below me. But one of my favourites is that she insists that no member of service staff is allowed to make eye contact with her.
Oh, I think I have.
So if you drop something off in her room, I want water served at exactly this temperature. If you make eye contact with her, she'll refuse to go on stage. Because you've upset her going on stage ritual. And again, that's not perfectionism, that's being a dick. Prince was the exact opposite of that, where he would have these very stringent, seemingly just arbitrary demands, but they were there for a reason. It's because Prince put on a good fucking show, and he was famous for putting on a good show, and he wanted to make sure people got their money's worth. And that's why he would do 9 hours of rehearsals in a row.
So I'm assuming there was a lot of people who would go above and beyond to help Prince.
Yeah, because like I said, he held himself to the same standard and would not make anyone do something he himself would not do. For example, his backing band, as much as they would gripe and complain about Prince ringing them up at 3 a.m. to do 6 hours of rehearsals for a show the next day, which is something he would do, they would turn up and do the rehearsal, because Prince himself would also turn up and stay there for the same amount of time. And that, to me, is just good leadership. And I think, just speaking from experience on a less grand scale, admittedly, working in retail and the service industry, you are more likely to go out of your way to do something for a boss who holds themselves to the same standards that they're insisting you stick to.
Yeah.
And do you have any examples of that from your time, the dark times?
Yeah, back in the dark days.
The pre-Fiend days.
I had a manager. I think a lot of the time she would spend away in her office during busy periods.
I know the exact kind of manager.
Serve on the till, having to tidy the shop as well. And it frustrated me because she could be quite scary. So
Sat up in her office, Queen Bee.
If she asked me to do an extra shift, I wouldn't dare say no, because if I said no, she would look at me and treat me as if I just insulted her mother or something.
Even though she wouldn't go out. And the thing is, though, that's leading via fear.
Yeah.
And to quote D-Mob from Def Jam Fight for New York, you don't rule through fear. Real power comes from respect. And I had something similar at a job I used to work, where I had 3 managers, Because that's how you know it was poorly run. There were 3 fucking managers, and there was 2 managers that people liked and 1 manager that people didn't like.
Yeah.
And it was so bad that if the manager people didn't like would call up and ask you to do a shift, you would just say no. And I distinctly recall many an occasion of that manager calling me up. Hi Karl, can you work tomorrow for like a 5-hour shift? It's like, sorry, no, I'm busy.
Yeah.
3 minutes later, I get a phone call from the other manager saying, oh, hi Karl, love. Do you mind coming in tomorrow? It's like, yeah, sure, for you, James, anything. And I'd make sure I'd say that loud enough that because they sat next to each other on their, like, in their office, that she'd hear me say it. For you, James, anything. But you want to do, you obviously, a boss is nice to you, and like when we, at the end of a shift, when we sat there, it's like, oh fuck, we've got to like clean down. He'd rock up after doing all his paperwork and help us like, it's like polishing cutlery, putting glasses away, relaying the restaurant. She would just sit there on fucking Facebook, like Queen Bee, just sitting there going,
yeah.
So it'd be a lot quicker if you helped.
I think the worst point for me was when I'd been working there like 3 years, and my life was around that shop. I'm so tired and so emotionally drained, still recovering, I think, from my time working.
People might be able to hear that when we bring it up, you just like you noticeably just become less energetic, like
But there was a point where me and Adam had booked a holiday, and it was for the end of March, and at the start of January, I said to my manager, I've got a holiday booked for the end of March for a week.
Oh, don't tell. I know where this is going already.
Went on like a paddy and was like, why didn't you tell me? And I'm like, I am. 3 months in advance. And she won't talk to me for the rest of the shift.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I don't dare do anything.
Fucking hate managers who just get in their head that, oh, my workers are ants.
Yeah.
The fact that they have a life outside of work or care about things other than the bottom line offends me on a moral level. But then again, like the managers who were about like the bottom line doing the best for the business, but respected me as a worker, like, yeah, I will stay an extra half an hour for you. Yes, I will make you a cup of tea while I'm midway through a shift because you're busy, because you're nice.
Yeah.
And Prince was that kind of boss where exacting demands, but because he, like, you know, he's willing to get down there in the dirt and do the work with you, you didn't mind. But on those odd occasions where someone did decide to say no to the purple one, Prince had, like, you know, a fairly effective way of ensuring that that never happened again.
Well, of course, there's going to be an example of a time that happened.
There is, yes. And for this, we refer to one Patrick Whalen, who worked with Prince in a professional capacity and was called up late one night by Prince, who asked him for a lighting setup that Whalen genuinely thought would be impossible to achieve. And when Prince made the request, Whalen said, no. Just straight up, no, it cannot be done. And he recalls that Prince thought for a moment, like paused, and Prince said to him, so what you're telling me, Patrick, is that in the 1 second it took you to say no, you left your body and exhausted every possibility. To which Whalen thought to himself, I guess he has a point. Leave it with me, Prince. I'll get back to you when I can. He went and he sat down and he figured out a way to achieve the effect that Prince wanted.
Yeah.
Because he realised, well, no, I didn't exhaust every possibility. There might be a way. Maybe I'll do some research. Maybe I'll call some people that I know. Let's pick some brains. Let's not be so negative. But this wasn't the end of Prince's lesson because, according to Whalen, for the next few weeks, every single time Whalen asked him to do something, made a request, Prince would just say no. Like, it doesn't matter how trivial, inconsequential the thing Whalen asked him, he'd say no.
Or and because he said no.
And that might sound like Prince has been a bit of a dick, but like Whalen would let you know, like, yeah, this really helped me because saying no is not helpful or conducive to the creative process. Because, like, you know, shows like that were a collaborative effort. And if you've got one person on the team who just says no flatly without, as Prince said, exploring every possibility, you're not going to put the best show on you can.
Yeah.
And he said after a few weeks, like, you know, he approached Prince and said, look, I get what you're doing. I've learned my lesson. Let's move on. Prince, being the awesome dude he was, accepted this apology, and the two went on and made, like, you know, fucking awesome shows together. Well, I just think that's, like, what a way of doing it.
Yeah.
Because, like, any other prima donna celebrity you've heard about would probably just fire that guy.
Yeah, he's like, how dare you say no to me?
How dare you say no to me? Make it work, and slam the phone down.
Yeah.
Prince, like, used it as an opportunity to teach Whalen a lesson, and, like I said, changed his entire outlook on life and made him into just a better person because of it.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. Because that's fucking Prince. So Nisha, I think it's safe to say now that neither of us will ever go back to doing a proper sit-down 9-to-5 job, correct?
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah, like even if Fiend, implodes and dies tomorrow, which I hope it doesn't do, like, comment, subscribe, that sort of shit. But we've now got enough experience in this industry to work behind the scenes, do other things.
Yeah.
So in that vein, because you're never going to go back and get that proper job, would you like now to shit talk your old job? Because I feel there's a lot of just frustration built inside you over how much you hated that job.
I feel like even 3 years later, it still has an impact on me. I still have dreams. No, actually, nightmares.
About waking up and still getting work.
I still work there. I get roped back into working.
I've had that moment where I wake up and go, oh shit, I need to go to work today. So I've not worked in 5 years. So I own my own business now. I'm a big success. I say, sat here, drinking out a £4 bottle of water. Yeah.
There was a moment which I was so done. I think this was near
Okay, what was the moment where you just went, fuck this, I'm done? Because that's it's a very personal moment. Because I had one similar, an old job that I had.
But it was a small store, so we didn't have many staff, but it was always really busy. And we always had to have someone who was on the shop floor to keep an eye on the door in case anyone tried to leg it with some stock. So we'd have to have someone on the floor, someone on the till, someone on the shoe section.
Let me guess, they put 2 members of staff on and send one in to do stock check.
No, it's just
okay, so it wasn't that bad.
So there was one person on shoes, one person on the shop floor, me on the tills, and the manager just hid in the office. And it was so busy. I had a queue that was almost to the middle of the store. And I was radioing, can someone please help me on the till? So obviously this person on the shop floor came to help me. Because the person on the shoes couldn't leave because shoes was always hectic.
Yeah,
so
you always need someone have you got this in at 9?
Yeah.
And you just look and go, no.
But so I had a person help me on the till to get this queue down, and the manager came out of the office why is there no one on the shop floor? Why is there no one watching the front door? And I was like, I need help on the till. He's like, there's always got to be someone on the shop floor. I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'll just do it on my own then. And the person who was on the till with me had to go on the shop floor. She went back in the office, and I was like, fuck it then. And then my assistant manager who was on shoes came over, saw the massive queue that I still had, and was like, look, we need someone on the tills. So my manager had to come out of the office, go on the shop floor, and then I had a till person help me. But
I bet they complained the entire fucking time.
Right, so policy is you're not meant to have long queues, or you're meant to keep queues down.
I want all my groceries in one bag, but I don't want it to be heavy.
So you think, if I've got a big queue, I need help. But obviously we're not allowed to take someone off the shop floor. So
and there's only 3 members of staff on.
What is the correct answer? So I was like, you know what, fuck it. I can't be arsed anymore.
Yeah. Everyone goes to that moment of just, fuck this. I remember it was when I got a job so I could get a discount on a hotel. I worked for a restaurant for a bit. It was owned by the Hilton. So I wanted to get a discount at the Hilton because we were going to a wedding. And I was like, I need that discount. It was a 90% discount. And I ended up getting a £150 hotel room for about 15 quid. But because I stayed in it with other people, I ended up paying nothing and then got a free trip down there because I got a cheap hotel room.
Yeah.
So I worked there not telling them, I plan on quitting in 3 months. But the Hilton, American company, American work ethic.
Yeah.
So what would happen was it'd be, okay then, we've got a new system in place, a new electronic signing system. And if you are 1 minute late, 1 minute, you will be docked 15 minutes pay.
Okay. That's extreme.
Here's a fun fact about the law. If you ain't getting fucking paid, you don't fucking work. And obviously, I did this job to get that discount, and just because my mate got me it. And I didn't tell him I was going to quit. I felt really bad. So I don't give a fuck. I'll argue about this all day. What are they going to do if they fire me? Oh no. I'll go back and just go sit at home and just write more articles. Bollocks to it. But I just came in. So, Karl, you're a minute late. And what? Well, you've been docked 15 minutes. Oh, excellent. Awesome. So I just put the glasses down that I was cleaning and went and just sat down in the restaurant. It wasn't open, but I sat down, got my phone out. What are you doing? I'm taking my break now. No, get back. You saw the thing. We open in half an hour. Yeah. Am I being paid? No, you've been docked 15 minutes. Now I'm not working. And my boss, they couldn't understand.
Yeah.
Why aren't you working? I'm telling you to work, but you're not paying me.
For 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I will wait that 15 minutes. And I remember every time they do it, and it just got to the point where I said, look, I'm happy to take this further. Would you like to go speak to your boss and tell them why you're trying to make me work when I'm not being paid? Yeah. Because I would love to have that conversation and hear you say it. And they just go, no. And then a previous job I had, I was really bad because I didn't really need to have the job. I just liked having the extra bit of money and the social aspect of, it's making new friends. You got people to go on nights out with and stuff like that. So it'd be, okay, you need to turn up 15 minutes before your shift for a briefing, for an event. So am I being paid? Well, no, but you need to, I'm not turning up then. No, but you need to be here 15 minutes early. Why? Because so you can be brief. So that's work, yes? Well, yeah, it is for work, but it's not part of your shift. No, that's not how it works.
No.
And I remember I came in 5 minutes early once, and I put my headphones in and refused to listen to it. It was that same boss, that one I hated. If it was a nice boss, I'd do it. Why not? I'd get a coffee, I'd sit, we'd have a chat, and it'd be like a casual conversation. Oh, here's what we're doing today. Yeah. Oh, your shift starts now. Right, just finish that and go on thing. With that manager, I'd be, get here 15 minutes. Sit there, listen to his fucking PowerPoint. No bollocks to you. And I remember having this argument very loudly on the bar as the big manageress walked past, like the person who's in charge of our department. And I just said, I went, Deborah, let me just ask you something. If I'm not being paid, I don't have to work. She went, well, yeah, Karl, that's fairly standard.
Yeah.
Do you mind telling, her that? And she just turned to my boss, ran in, yeah, I don't give a fuck. And that's why I'll never get another job, because that reference will be terrible.